Thank you, Nasser, for that warm introduction, and good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm so delighted to be here. I know it's April, but I'm definitely still stuck in March because March Madness just happened. The WNBA draft just happened. And this is not random to me because I love basketball. Just this morning, I was shooting around at the park, enjoying a quiet morning time, and thinking about a question that I've been asking myself for the last couple of days. I thought that rather than pondering on it myself, I'm gonna let you all help me frame it. So this is a engaging keynote. We're talking to each other here. For my hoopers in the room, or anyone who's ever played basketball, what do you typically say when you're waiting in the sidelines to play? I got next. That's it. That's it. You raise your hand boldly and with confidence, and you say, I got next. Sometimes people don't hear you, so they try to play with you, but you just say it again, I got next. You're not begging. You're not helping somebody pick you. You're declaring that next game you're up. You're declaring that it's your turn. And you're also saying, do you keep playing, but don't get too comfortable with me on the sidelines, because I got next, and I stand on that. So, as we think about today's conference and the topic, cultivating leaders of tomorrow, I want to start right there. I got next. So now, back to the question that I was sitting with this morning. Here it is. So this is a question for us to reflect throughout this keynote. How come it's easy for us to call I got next from the sidelines of a pickup game, but we hesitate to say it when we're talking about our calling, our purpose, our opportunity to step up and lead? Let's think about that for a second. As you meditate on that, I'm going to take you down a walk down memory lane from my days at BCC. In high school, I actually played basketball. I was on the JV and varsity team. And when I played, I was not always deeply rooted in my belief that I had next. And it really showed in my consistency as a player. I was a sophomore. I was a sixth man or a sixth woman, if you will. And there was that. That was my ball is life journey at BCC. But again, I'm gonna ask you all, who in here knows what a sixth man is? Or anybody ever played sixth man before? So Dr. Taylor raised his hand. I know there's other hoopers in the room. But for those who aren't familiar, a sixth man in basketball is the first substitute of the bench. You're not starting, but you're expected to come in and make an impact. Bring energy, change the speed of the game, grab rebounds, and quite literally be a game changer. So by default, the sixth man always has next. But here's the catch. How you wait determines how you play. I'm going to say that again. How you wait determines how you play. This is where I was inconsistent. There would be games where I was locked in. I understood my assignment based on the team we were playing. I watched the game carefully, and I established my mind exactly how I was going to contribute once coach put me in. Those games, when coach called my name, I was getting buckets. I played free, I played confident, I knew what I was there to do, which was apply pressure, play defense, get rebounds, and change the pace of the game. So I understood my role on the court. But then, there were other games. Games where I was sitting on the bench, just not feeling good enough, getting in my head, frustrated, dealing with insecurity, to be vulnerable with you all, and feeling like my hard work wasn't paying off. So I was dealing with all those emotions and, quite frankly, probably doing what some of you would call crashing out. I didn't understand why I was not starting, why coach wasn't putting me in when it was obvious we needed new energy on the court. And in that impatience, I forgot two things. One, that I already had next. And two, that I had a role to play while I waited. How I waited was determining how I was going to play when my moment came. And I was busy being frustrated, not realizing coach was just getting ready for the right time to put me in. When I focused too much on the noise, the frustration, the why not me, the crash out, I wasn't focusing on my game. And when coach finally put me in, oh, it showed. No handles, playing scared, air balls. Oh my goodness, the air balls. Just bricks. So quietly, I built this brick by brick, but not the good kind. Not because I didn't have the skills, but because my posture while I waited to play was not right. I didn't understand that being on the sidelines was also an opportunity to grow. So here's where I'm going with this, and I want you to hear this clearly. When I waited with a doubtful heart, prideful, frustrated, lacking confidence, distracted, I played like somebody who didn't belong on the court. But when I waited with an honest heart, locked in, expectant, understanding my assignment, I played like somebody who knew what she was there to do and where she was going. So it was the same bench, the same player, the same talent, but different posture. So I'm gonna bring it back to us again. How many of us have ever been on the sidelines, maybe not in basketball, but maybe in life, just tired of waiting? We can be honest here. I just told you I was crashing out and that I was getting bricks, not buckets. You see, we're not alone in feeling like that. So here's how we start to shift that. First of all, own that you have next, but wait with an expectant heart. The seed for your leadership has already been planted, and the first step is recognizing that, which is why I keep saying, I got next. When you fail the test you study so hard for, you tell yourself, I am not defined by this piece of work. I got next. When imposter syndrome creeps in and you start to wonder why you're sitting in this room, you tell yourself, I am here for a reason. I got next. When the anxiety and depression are loud, you tell yourself, I got better days ahead of me. I got next. And when you feel overlooked, maybe because you're the quiet one, maybe because you're afraid to step out of your comfort zone, so you dim your light around other people, you tell yourself, whether I dim my light or not, I am a light that cannot be hidden. So I might as well shine. I might as well lead, and I might as well say it out loud. I got next. So say it with me. I got next. With more energy, I got next. Now, I'm not saying here to sit and do nothing, because that's not what patience is. A growing leader lets patience do its work. A great leader tends to the soil while they wait. A great leader stays ready for the assignment that is soon to come. Cultivating leadership of tomorrow requires knowing how to wait while you're growing today. And to be ready, you have to work on your character first. Finding purpose requires understanding who you are. And in the season you're in right now, middle school, high school, understanding who you are is a daily practice of patience. But it's all worth it, because your character is your pathway to your leadership. People will remember you for your character, Not your extracurriculars all the time, not your APs or your IBs, your Instagram followers or the TikTok followers, not your outfit, and not whether or not you're the birthday. Your character is the first bloom of your leadership, and it evolves as you grow. Now, that was the framework for it, but now I'm going to give you another gem. It's also important to recognize when to pivot, because cultivating leadership requires recognizing that there's different stages of growth. As your character evolves, your interests and your passions will too. Let's think about it together. The middle schooler who followed the crowd, maybe got in trouble by association, might become a completely different person in high school when they find a club that actually fits who they are. The senior who's captain of the basketball team today, that might be the same kid who in middle school didn't have the grades to be eligible to play, or didn't even believe in themselves enough to try out. People change, character grows, and sometimes you have to pivot to find the soil where your leadership can actually take root. I'm gonna bring it back to my glory days at BCC. In basketball, you know the big men on the court by their footwork. So their ability to pivot, right, and protect the ball to score. Back in high school, my pivot wasn't just on the court. It was how I handled my path as a student leader, positioning myself to be more aligned to score. I knew I was passionate about basketball. I knew I was skilled. But where my leadership truly blossomed was to student organizations and the ability to organize peers my age for greater change. That became evident through my involvement in student government at BCC. The spring of my junior year, I made a pretty big decision. I decided I was not going to play basketball my senior year. Instead, I was going to pivot and run for school-wide vice president at BCC. That nudge to pivot was the initial seed of the calling I'm walking in right now. I won. I became VP of BCC, and I decided to cultivate my leadership in soil where I knew the fruit would be ripe. Here I am in 2026, 10 years later, standing in front of you all after the decision I made. My first speaking engagements were as a student leader in high school, advocating for students to have a seat at the table, carrying myself with the confidence and boldness, believing that I was a leader then and that I had next. I now hold a degree in education, policy, and analysis from Harvard University. I served as a Congressional Black Caucus Foundation Fellow in the U.S. House of Representatives. And I was appointed to the Biden-Harris administration less than 5 years after becoming a U.S. citizen. And right now, I'm in the classroom, teaching, still knowing I got next, and learning from the very people I seek to serve, which is every single one of you in this room. That decision in high school was a seed that's still bearing fruit today. So I want us to all look around. Look around this room. Look around, I'm looking from here. This room is filled with so much potential, with leadership ready to take root and grow. And that's the catch. Often, change begins as a seed growing quietly within us. So as I wrap up, let me end with one last story. I visited this farm over spring break, where I had the experience of quite literally planting seeds in the greenhouse while thinking about today's topic, cultivating leaders of tomorrow. After I finished seeding, I went on a farm tour. It was great. And I visited what they called the salad tunnel. While talking to the farmer who owned the property, she shared something that truly moved me. So I'm going to extend it to you all. She said, on this farm, our main focus is really on the soil. I was very confused when she said that. So I asked her, does the soil matter more than the roots? And here's what she explained to me. She explained that it's all an ecosystem, but it's the richness and the health of the soil that determines how a seed shoots. Again, it's the richness and health of the soil that determines how a seed shoots. Why am I bringing this up? Your roots can always grow again. No matter where you came from, no matter what your home life might look right now, no matter who you used to hang out with, or what mistakes you've already made, roots grow back. If you're sitting here looking back at this year and feeling like you gave your energy to things that didn't help you grow, that season served its purpose, but it's done now. So you're going to find good soil. If you've been running with people who make you dim your light, people who remind you of who you were trying to be as opposed to who you're meant to be, love them from afar, but find good soil. If you've been feeling and telling yourself, I feel small in this school, in this organization, in this room, then search for the room where you produce much fruit. Find that good soil. Plant yourself in community that encourages you to grow, around people who water you, not drain you, in rooms that grow you, not shrink you, where your gifts flourish, not wither, and tell yourself, I got next, and I get to choose who's next to me. So here's my challenge to you. Know who you are before you choose your path. Your purpose is your pathway to your leadership, and purpose starts with character, not what you do, but who you are. Plant yourself in good soil. Surround yourself with people and places that help you grow, because where you're planted matters, sometimes more than your roots. Hold your posture. Carry yourself like you got next, and be bold about it. Wait expectantly. Practice patience, because the seed of your leadership is already in you. Your responsibility is to tend to what's already growing. And that is why we're gathered here today, to cultivate leaders of tomorrow. So keep growing. Keep seeding your pathway, and know that you have a champion who already believes in you. I believe in every single one of you in this room. Now it's up to you to believe in you. You got next. Thank you all.